For my time series analysis project, I decided to predict future Microsoft stock price from a 60-month analysis from the months of January 1st, 2004 to January 1st, 2014. So why should you try to predict Microsoft stock price? Predicted stock price equals more money for the investor. It also tells him when to buy or sell, and ultimately reduces the risk of speculation for the investor, which can get the investor into a lot of trouble just guessing what the stock price is going to be and determining if they're going to buy or sell based on that. Also, for the business decision, should an investment services company invest in Microsoft? From the linear regression equation y equals 0.0026x minus 80.619, you can determine future stock prices. Some of the methods I used were linear regression with seasonality, 3-month moving average, 6-month moving average, 12-month moving average, 3-month weighted moving average, 6-month weighted moving average, exponential smoothing with alpha 0.2, and exponential smoothing alpha 0.4. And to the right, you can see I calculated the mean absolute deviation, the mean error, the mean absolute percentage error, mean squared error, and tracking signal. For mean absolute deviation, you want this value to be as small as possible. For the ME, it tells you a large positive mean error means that the forecast is undershooting the actual observations. For mean absolute percentage error, most common measures of forecast accuracy is 10% is considered very good, 20% to 30% or even higher is quite common. And also, for the tracking signal, you would like this to be between -4 and 4 to assume the model is working correctly. So for my best models, I found that the 3-month moving average and the 3-month weighted moving average were the best. The mean absolute percentage error for the 3-month moving average was 0.07, which is very close to 10%, which is very good for the mean absolute percentage error. Also, for the 3-month weighted moving average, it's only 0.06, which is the lowest, and is also very good. The mean absolute deviation for the 3-month moving average is 1.49, which is the second lowest, and for 3-month weighted moving average, 1.47 is the lowest mean absolute deviation. For mean error, the 3-month moving average is 0.19, and for the 3-month weighted moving average is -0.29. For the 3-month moving average, you can tell that the forecast is undershooting a little bit, and for the 3-month weighted moving average, it's overshooting a little bit. So some of the failed models I found were the 12-month moving average and linear regression with seasonality. The mean absolute percentage error for the 12-month moving average was 0.11, as well as linear regression with seasonality was 0.11, which means they're both pretty good since they're close to 10%. The mean absolute deviation for 12-month moving average is 2.46, as well as linear regression with seasonality is 2.46. These were both the highest values of the mean absolute deviation, which ultimately determined that these were failed models. The mean error for the 12-month moving average was -0.79, and for linear regression with seasonality was -0.02. So for 12-month moving average, the -0.79 means that it is overshooting a decent amount, and the linear regression with seasonality is just overshooting a little bit. So for my recommendation, based on analysis, Microsoft would be a smart long-term investment for an investment services company because the stock price ultimately rises over time. You should at least hold the stock for 5+ years to see some return. Thank you. Hope that helps.